Welcome back, everyone, to the Regional Championship in Cologne. We are running down the wire now, almost at the very last games here with the top eight. The creme de la creme of the whole tournament was kind of found here now. Only 8 players left, two of them now being streamed. The legendary Todd Reklev against
Woo!
Germany's own Matthias Luppa. I'm very excited. How about you, Lydia?
Yeah, I'm also super excited. And because I am so excited, I want to share the excitement with you. Hey, that was a great transition because we have a giveaway for you. With our partner Card Market, you can win a €5 voucher if you let us know who you think will win. So as soon as we will switch into the game, you will see who's the left player and who's the right player, and let us know who you think will win this series. The giveaway will be open until the first 5 minutes of the game. So type either hashtag player left or no hashtag left player and or hashtag right player, depending on who you think will win. Subscribers will also have a higher chance of winning. And in case you forgot about the exact commands, just type exclamation mark giveaway, and this will remind you of what you have to do. But I would say,
Yeah, but I have the feeling that maybe more people will vote for Tort. uh, however, this is a very interesting matchup, I think. So Tort, of course, is playing his mysterious Mewtwo and Mew tag team deck that he already teased a little bit. Very interesting card choices here. I'm really looking forward to see how this is running down. However, his opponent is Matthias Luppa using Malamar with Giratina. So a matchup we haven't seen so far.
that's true.
Seems to be quite difficult since the Giratina is a Psychic Pokemon, Mewtwo is weak to Psychic, and Tord is not playing Jirachi GX, which is a card you usually have in these Mewtwo and Mew tag team decks. It helps, well, in the mirror match it doesn't help too much since your opponent also loses a weakness, but it definitely is an important, plays an important role there. And then also against a lot of different decks that play Psychic Pokemon, you don't have to worry about the weakness, but the
Oh, we
only
see
way
the handshake.
for the only way for Tord to get the weakness away is a weak guard energy. However, against non-GX Pokemon, that's a little bit iffy.
That's true.
So
That's true.
I think this will be an interesting match, and I'm really excited to see how Tord is actually maneuvering this.
Yeah,
Since
I'm,
out of
I'm
the
sure
top of
he has a game plan.
he
Because
definitely has. I mean, it's Tord. He probably played a million games with this deck, or not. Maybe he just thought about it yesterday and 2 days ago and was like, well, let's just go for it.
oh, and we can have a look at the prices. And looking at Matthias' prices, 3 of his Pokemon Communication are priced.
Yeah, and also he does start with Deoxys Espeon tag team. Not really the Pokemon you want to start with. This is a pretty good addition to the deck. The GX attack being able to put 10 damage counters anywhere on your opponent's field. It has a secondary effect that allows you to put 20 damage counters if you have 3 extra energy. However, this is not usually used, but you have the option with all these spell tags and Giratina's ability. You can set up some KOs with it. At the beginning of the game, it can be quite strong with the Psychic Club attack. However, it's not very likely to get the energy to attack turn 2, especially not if you start with it. Also, it has 2 retreat costs, so it can't retreat for an escape board. You also need energy, or you need a switch. So not the ideal start here. On Tord's side, the prize cards, he does have his Solgaleo prize, but he actually plays 2 Solgaleos. So this is something, yesterday we had some lists that only played a single Solgaleo GX, a very crucial card in this deck. Tord doesn't want to lose because it's priced, so he included 2.
Yeah, and that makes it a bit easier, of course, for him to use that Solgaleo during his first turn. But it's still no, it's towards turn now, so
Oh,
we'll
Matthias'
see.
turn not looking good at all. He
No.
just put the Mimikyu active. In theory, he can use Filch. However, if Tord draws into the right cards, he can actually knock out this Mimikyu. So the just mentioned Solgaleo GX can attack for 120 damage for only 2 energy cards. So he would just need a Welder which is quite likely because these decks really play around just having turn 1 Welder with the Energy X. That's quite likely, and even if he has the only 1 energy with the Welder, he can still attach from his hand to deal 120 damage, given that he is able to discard a Pokemon that has an attack, which can take the knockout here. But there should be plenty ways for him to get his most liked Pokemon into the discard pile. But yeah, here we still see him running through his deck, figuring out what cards are in his prize cards.
Yeah, and it looks like he's eyeing up the Ninja Tom?
Ninkada.
Ninkada, yeah. Ninja Tom is the other evolution.
No, Ninja Tom is actually the German name.
Oh, okay.
The evolution is called Shedinya.
But it has 2 evolutions, right?
Yeah, and the other is Ninjask, I think.
Ninjask? Okay.
But I'm mixing up the German and English names as well. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this is Ninkada, the evolution. Shedinya allows you to attach as a tool to a Pokemon. Very interesting abilities. I really like these attach your Pokemon as a tool kind of abilities. Back in the day, there were a lot of unknowns that had these. Then they kind of stopped doing it. They only had Klefki. And now they have the Shedinya. Very cool card because this way, if your opponent knocks out a Pokemon tag team, you can attach to the second tag team. And then even if your opponent knocks that one out, you're still in the game. So even if your opponent takes out 2 of your tag team Pokemon, you can still continue playing, and that leaves your opponent with only 1 prize card, and then you still use your last tag team, going for like an 8 prize game. And here we see Tord actually discarding Solgaleo off his turn, going for the Dana as long as he can get an energy and a Welder. We will see an attack here, but his hand does not look like he has anything to draw.
Not
just some
really,
energy cards,
no.
so at least it's fair now, right? Like Luppa, Matthias didn't have a very strong start, Tor just like energy attached it and a pass, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess he will. Couldn't he had copied the attack of Ninkada? I don't actually know what he's doing.
No, because you can only copy Pokemon GX and EX.
Oh, okay, yeah,
seems
of course.
Well, it seems kind of weird, right? Like usually the GX and EX are stronger, so we would assume that kind of ability to be like everything expect EX and GX. But it's actually the opposite. And Matthias here just attacking with Filch. And now it's back to Tord again. He drew into Shedinya. He also has an energy, so he can take the knockout here. Nothing to attach the energy to. Actually, he top decked a Red's Challenge. An amazing card.
Interesting.
Yeah, when it first came out, all people thought, well, it's actually pretty weak because you play a supporter card, you discard 2, and then you only get 1 more. So in order to use it, you need to have another supporter card in your hand anyways. But for Tord, it really turned out fine. Red is one of these cards that allows you to put Pokemon in your discard pile, which became more difficult since Ultra Ball rotated.
Yeah, there are really not that many cards in the current format that actually allow you to discard cards.
Yeah, so there's a Giant Hearth.
Yeah.
And
Heat Factory.
Yeah. So like Giant Hearth and Hapu, I think, are the only ways for him to discard it other than Reds. And then with Reds, you can get access to some interesting cards. You can search for the energy. He plays 2 Psychic, 1 Water, and 3 Weak Guard. Neither of them can be searched out unless you play against a deck that has Viridian City in play. Viridian Forest, I mean. But yeah, with Red, you always need to have a Dedenne on top of that, or Welder. But in theory, you can search for Welder, but that's not usually you usually do. And actually, Tord using Red to go into Dedenne, so kind of a weird Ultra Ball that he just used. He attached the Weak Guard energy, discarded a Fire, and now he can discard another Fire energy. And this allows him to start charging up as long as he draws into a Mewtwo and Mew tag team, which I think he did not. So his hand again, not looking too promising. But
he has some Pokemon in hand.
Yeah, but I think it's a Naganaga GX. One of the Pokemon that are only in the deck to be copied of the Perfection ability. It can put deals 170 on the bench Pokemon, which is amazing if your opponent uses Dedenne. And Tord actually going for a very, very cool play. So Turbo Strike forces you to attach 2 energy cards, which is usually fine since you can just attach them to something you want. But currently he doesn't want to have them anywhere. But by attaching it to the Shedinya, he can then later discard them again and then attach them via the attack. So this way at least, well, since he doesn't play Heatran GX, he can just attach them and still get something out of it.
Yeah, they don't stay stuck on the field. So, of course, this is very nice. He could have played around it a little bit by discarding them later in order to pay retreat costs, but still, that's a more comfortable way, I would say.
Yeah, often just having some random energy on your Dedenne is fine since you can promote them. Tor does not play any Jirachi, so whenever your active Pokemon gets knocked out, there needs to be something that replaces that. However, Todd would really like to have, would really prefer another Mewtwo and Mew. But yeah, like we just discussed earlier, there are not too many cards that allow you to discard stuff, other than, of course, the Dedenne. So just getting the Fire Energy in the discard pile again is not too easy, I think. But now Todd really has to think about what he's doing here. No supporter card for either of these players.
That's so unfortunate.
Yeah, that really hurts. We see a Water Energy and he actually retreats for Shedinja.
What's its attack? Is it about to attack? Can it attack?
I think it can put damage counters with the attack.
Yeah, apparently it can place 3 damage counters.
Well, let's get the scan here. Attacking with Shedinja, not something I actually expected. But yeah, so everyone at home, yeah. Just 3 damage counters. I thought you can put them wherever you want, but just 3 damage counters on the active Pokemon. Really weird play, but it turns out to be fine. The Esper can't really do too much. It can use Caterday to draw a card, which might actually be some... Oh wait, Matthias drew the Lily. So he got kind of...
Yeah, he
got a chance to get back into the game. But I would not call this getting back into the game. However, he drew a switch as well, so now he can use Stellar Whoosh. This is a really, really weird play because both players can't really do too much, but they still have a lot of options. So it looks kind of like when Steam decks play against each other. Like you always have something that you can do. But actually, a lot of people say that these kind of games are actually the most difficult because when you draw really bad and your opponent draws really good, there's nothing you can do, you lose anyways. And if you draw really good and your opponent draws really bad, then, well, you win. But if both players draw really bad, you create a lot of scenarios that don't really happen a lot.
Yeah.
And
you're not experienced.
Yeah, like it's all like it's the first time these kind of things happen. So maybe for Todd it's the first time that he uses Haunt, I don't know. But it's certainly the first time he uses Haunt and then just your opponent attacks with Nihilego. So this board state is the first time both players are in it. So let's see what he's doing. He's also confused. If he flips tails on the attack, he gets knocked out. And then he has to... Actually, the reason the Shedinja is active now is because if it gets knocked out, like it's just 1 prize card, that's fine. But if he attacks now, he has to promote something, yes, and then that might get damage or get knocked out even.
But it looks like he drew into a communication.
Oh, that's really
huge.
Strong, yeah.
He can now use the communication, get another Mewtwo Mew Tag Team GX, and then you again copy Solgaleo GX attack and get the energies from the Shedinja to the fresh Mewtwo Mew Tag Team GX. So.
Yeah, that's really sweet. Yeah, just like Lydia said, now with this communication, Todd is able to get his strategy running. Shedinja can also discard itself, even if it's active. But it seems like Todd is not actually... There is a power plant in play, which I just forgot.
Yes.
With the power plant, of course, Mewtwo and Mew can't attack. And this is the reason Todd included his Mars Shadow ability, allows him to discard the current stadium. It's a searchable card, so it's very nice, just a good one-off to have in addition to your stadiums. And then also the Shedinja can discard itself from the active, then attach. So it was kind of a free attack he got there earlier. And the 30 damage now, it seems kind of random, but you shouldn't forget that one of Todd's attack options are Espeon and Espeon and Deoxys GX. And with this GX attack, if you have a lot of energy attached, which often happens, you can put 20 damage counters in your opponent's field. And especially against Malamar, that can turn out to just win you the game, since you can knock out... So for example, right now, a winning option that is on the board is use that GX attack to knock out Malamar, the Esper, and also Jirachi. So that would allow Tor to draw 3 prize cards. So there's a lot of things going on, and also a lot of things you always have to keep into your mind. Yeah, Todd actually retreating and then using the ability could have done the other way around, I think. Or maybe I'm forgetting something. And now here we see his secret weapon, Weak Guard Energy, Shidinya Mewtwo. Unfortunately, nothing to attach the energy to. Like we said earlier, he would really like to have it, but we forgot the power plant. So, yeah.
Yeah, activating a spell tag here. Matthias placing the 4 damage counters as the effect of the spell tag, obviously. And now it's Matthias' turn again. It looks like he drew into an escape board, which is really nice because that's exactly what he needed.
Yeah, so Matthias putting the damage here very predictable. 1 damage needs to be on the Mewtwo and Mew since it's weak to Psychic, and Giratina deals 130. With the weaker, there's 260 damage, so the 10 damage active is very important. And then the rest just needs to go somewhere. Of course, yes, he could split them up, but with the Esper, you can actually take a knockout later on the Didena as long as he gets another spell taker at some point of this game. So Matthias, it really looks like he's having a upper hand here now in this battle of bricks. Two stones playing against each other. But Matthias was actually able to break it already last turn since he got the Lily that drew him into a switch. Then he was able to get the Cynthia. Now he has another Cynthia in his hand. He also got a Malamar. So the Giratina is a threat and it's on. It doesn't have weakness right now because of the guard energy, but still the 10 damage active allows Matthias to just take the 2-hit knockout. And here you can also see why this weak guard energy is so important.
Yeah, and we see it's Tord's turn again, and he finally found that second Mewtwo Mew tag team. He has benched it, and I don't think that he has anything else he can do.
Yeah, his hand doesn't really look like too much. He definitely still can attach an energy somewhere. And since he has so many different attacks that he can use, just attaching the energy somewhere usually is kind of fine. Unfortunately, well, no weak guard energy, but he can still draw into these later. Also, he was kind of lucky that Matthias didn't get another power plant, since it looks like with Todd's current hand, there is no way for him to get another power plant.
Yeah.
Also, he has a psychic energy in his discard pile, so he can attach that. We talked about the Deoxys and Espeon GX attack earlier, but Miraculous Duo is also not too bad since it's able to heal all the damage from Mewtwo and Mew, which means if he has a weak guard energy, Matthias has to play a really weird ways since he would need to put 10 damage on the Mewtwo and Mew somehow, and then also
2-hit?
Yeah, so he needs to attack twice,
Yep.
but after the first attack, Todd can use the GX attack to heal all the damage away, and then Matthias needs 3 hits again, so he needs a spell tag there. So a lot of things to ask for, which makes Miraculous Duo also an option Todd has, but I think the only person who knows which is a better option is Todd himself. So let's see what's going on now. So Matthias playing his Cynthia he got from the last turn. And also he puts Mew on his bench.
Yeah, his bench looks pretty full. And
Yeah.
he currently has 2 Melamass. That's nice, so he got the engine going. And it looks like he's just attacked with Giratina.
Yeah, and this is a kind of a weird spot for Matthias since, well, he has to put the 40 damage on his Malamar. And like we said earlier, something in the back of your mind is always that really big Espeon Deoxys. But he can't place it on Giratina. Often you just place it on Giratina. But if he does that, then Todd can also use Solgaleo to take the 1-hit knockout on the, to take the knockout on the active Giratina, which is something Matthias probably wants to avoid. So this way he forces Todd to use, to bring out the bigger attacks now. He doesn't have a lot of fire energy attached active, so often you can use Macargo. If you discard 2 fire energy, you deal 150. So to be able to do that, Todd needs another fire energy card. I'm pretty sure no one in this tournament knows exactly any counts of Todd, so Matthias also doesn't know how many fire energy cards are in Todd's deck. So if he can play around all of that, he might have a pretty good chance.
Yeah, we know that Todd drew into a welder from his prices, but it looks like he's not going to play it because he has no energy.
Yeah, and he has no energy. This is really unfortunate. Now you see Matthias play perfectly paying off. He didn't put active, so Todd can use Solgaleo. Still no knockout. Now Matthias can take his 2 prize cards. I made a joke earlier that Todd's deck is just attach Shedinia and then win because of prize penalties because the opponent draws 3. But then yeah, Matthias can draw 2 prize cards on this Mewtwo and Mew by only using non-GX. And let's see what happened here. So
Yeah. Matthias is attaching a spell tag, energy to the benched Mew, and Cynthia.
yeah, so energy to Mew.
Matthias' deck looks pretty thin.
Yeah, but energy to Mew seems a bit weird. But Mew has a very interesting attack and can put 3 damage counters wherever you want. So if you attack with the Giratina once, then you can use the Mew at some point to set up some KOs. Maybe also it's just for retreating. He already has the escape board Esper on the bench, which would fill that role, but also Matthias actually plays. I think he plays Lysander Labs. I don't have his
We don't have his
list
deck
here.
list yet.
Currently we don't have his deck list, but I think no, he doesn't play Lysander Labs. No, I made a mistake. So yeah, forget that. But taking the knockout, taking the correct amount of prize cards, still 3 Pokemon communication. But now it's a really weird spot for Tort. Because yesterday I always forgot Espeon and Deoxys GX, so now I try to make sure that it's always.
I'm writing you and I'm highlighting it on the deck list for you.
Thank you very much. No, but this turn actually, if
With
he
an
gets
exclamation mark.
if he gets a Psychic Energy and then a Welder, he can put 20 damage counters, and that would mean like 10 on the Giratina, that's a knockout, 30 on the Esper, that's a knockout, and then 50 on the Malamar. So even 100 damage would be enough. He doesn't even need the extra energy. He just needs to attack with it this turn, and then it's already over.
Reset stamp.
We see a reset stamp coming down. Todd is preparing for everything. Oh yeah, Todd plays Lysander Lab. That's what I was thinking about earlier.
Yes, he does.
So that would prevent the escape board, so Mew would become another option. Also very nice to outplay these spell tags. Thank you very much. So after this reset stamp, you would expect a Dedenne, but there is still the power plant in play now, so Todd would need to get rid of that. Once that's gone,
But it looks like he drew into a kick gym.
yeah, I think he has a lab in his hand.
Yep.
Yeah, and here it is. Matthias probably not being too happy about that.
Oh,
This allows Thor to use another Dedenne and attack with Mewtwo. Let's see what hits the discard pile now. Thor, very nice. Shows us his attackers at all times.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Todd Reklev.
Yeah, so Charizard and Naganagel, not too important currently, but let's see which card he's able to rip now. He does have a Hapu, and he has an energy, and he has a Cherish Ball. So
Oh, that's actually something to work with.
I was just going to say, if I didn't do anything wrong, I think he can even win the game now. But let's see what Todd goes for first.
I think the way he looks.
Okay,
He
so
also
here we
believes
see
that.
the
Espeon
Deoxys.
Deoxys.
But he puts it in his hand. He can also bench it to use attack, I think. So he is calculating if that's all right. And I
Retreat.
think
He's
I'm proud to say that he's like just like I did recently. I was like,
Is it enough?
yeah,
Is it
cross
enough?
division is enough, right? Yeah, cross division. Okay,
Yeah.
so I was not wrong. I'm very proud of myself. Predicted the play, and now this Todd, even though his start wasn't looking too great, his Shedinya setting up the knockout for him. A very, very strong fighter, one of his dearest friends in this tournament, always sacrificing itself to help with his Mewtwo and Mew. This time, setting up the win here for Todd. Very exciting stuff.
Yeah, I guess all you Todd Reklev fanboys and fangirls out there are happy now because you voted for him, right?
Well, let's see. But Matthias, like I said, the matchup, Matthias has a lot of things he can do in this matchup. His start was very unfortunate, starting with the Deoxys tag team. It didn't cost him the game because of prize cards, but it's also very annoying. You need a switch at the beginning, and then you need to, it's always on your bench, fills up your bench space. Matthias didn't get a lot of Malamars into play
Yeah, it
early.
was pretty
The
unfortunate.
Giratina was quite late, and then the turn he had, the Giratina Todd already used his weak guard energy. Yeah, so let's see if Matthias has a better starting hand this time.
Yeah, it was really quite unfortunate game to watch during the first 2 turns, and I hope that this time we will actually see a setup from both players, because I think that Malama actually has a better chance than what we were able to catch.
Yeah, so Malamar, there is kind of a meme that Malamar
really?
often draws really bad.
I mean, it's after all, it's a setup deck, and
well,
every
yeah.
setup deck has the same problem.
You play
The problem is it's a setup deck.
Yeah,
you need your setup.
There are a lot of strong cards in this format that Malamar can't utilize. So the Energy X, you can't really play that. Then the Cherish Ball is something a lot of deck use. You don't have access to that, and you need to draw the right cards in the right order. So it's not an actual
and
combo
also at the
deck,
right
but
time.
yeah, but it's like a combo deck. So at the beginning you need your in case. If you draw your Malamars first, nothing you can do about it. But since you have access to a Mysterious Treasure, at least this deck still works.
Yeah,
so
and we may not forget that 3 of Matthias' Pokemon communication were prized.
Oh yeah.
So that really was a very suboptimal setup for him, I would say. But it looks like both players are ready to set up, and I think we can have a look at their prices
so Matthias
soon.
opening with Jirachi
and he's
active,
forgetting the price cam, but the
maybe allowing him to
table
go
judge
for
reminding
an
him.
early Lily. Well, his like Todd's price card look really fine.
Though.
Like they look normal.
Yeah.
For Matthias, like his 2 of his Cynthia are priced. That's not something you want to see. And then also one Malamar. So that means 1 Inkay, 1 Malamar are priced. But his opening turn now looking a lot better. Directly getting the Inkay. He also has a Recycle Energy in his hand, which is cool because you can always use it for retreating, and once you get your Giratina, you can attach it there. And then every time your Giratina gets knocked out, you get the energy back. You can attach it, use your Malamar's retreat, start attacking again. Giratina hitting the discard pile, Giratina entering the hand immediately, and now we see Stellar Wish. Wishing for a supporter card, I suppose. Getting the Lily, the dream came true. First turn, being able to draw cards until he has 8 in his hand. Matthias definitely happy about that.
Yeah, of course, Lily is definitely the supporter you want to have turn 1. That's why you play probably 4 copies of it. Yeah, 4 copies of it in Matthias' deck list. Usually you play 4 if you have Lily in your deck. So here we see her, and it looks like he has quite something he can work with. He has a Mysterious Treasure, probably going for the first Inkay, so we see a setup.
Yeah, so Mysterious Treasure, amazing card in this deck. Searching out his Inkays early. He drew in a few energy cards. I don't think he got a supporter card, but with Jirachi, you have so many outs. So now, if the top 6 cards of his deck is a supporter card, then he can just grab it next turn. He will either top deck it or then get it off the Stellar Wish. And even though he has an energy in the discard pile, he has already an energy in play, he got the escape board, so he can even attack with Giratina next turn.
Yeah, that sounds like a very good plan to me. But now it's Todd's time to it's Todd's turn, so he needs to get his setup going. And it also looks like his hand is way better than last turn. He has the Cherish Ball, and probably going for a Mewtwo Mew. Oh no, he's going for Solgaleo, so...
Yeah,
have you seen if he had a Dedenne in hand?
Yeah, I think he actually has both Dedenne and Mewtwo and Mew.
Okay.
So with this kind of build Todd is using with Mewtwo and Mew, it's very important to get the Solgaleo into the discard pile early, and then also have a lot of more energy. You can see it, Matthias, for example, here did have a Viridian Forest in his hand, but he did not play it down, because that would allow Tord to get one free card in the discard. That's very good for Tord. And also to give him one energy for free, that's also very good for Tord, because he needs to get both. He needs the Pokemon in the discard pile, he needs the energy, and then he needs to get the energy in the discard pile. So this way, Matthias just not going for the stadium, kind of not giving Tord the advantage here. We see the Cherish Ball for Solgaleo, so he's already one step closer to this turn 1 Turbo Strike. Solgaleo, yeah, unfortunately it's a stage 2, or maybe it's very good that it's a stage 2, so it didn't become too strong, but the stage doesn't matter for Mewtwo. He can do it with every Pokemon GX. So
Or EX.
yeah, true, yeah. So in standard only GX, but of course if you play expanded, you can even use Mega Pokemon, you can use Quaking Punch. It sounds like a nightmare, to be honest. But we are not living in the nightmare that is expanded, we are living in the current standard format.
In good old Europe, where expanded doesn't exist.
Yeah, a nightmare for some people, I think. A lot of people don't like the current standard format. Tord is, I think, okay with it. I don't think Tord has any... Like, he's above liking or disliking formats. It's like, it doesn't matter at this point.
He's just over that point, because he's playing anyways.
And we see the almost a perfect setup for Tord, right?
As long that was really nice.
He needs a Welder now and an energy. He has a weak guard energy. He only plays one switch, I think, as a switching
option.
There's the
fire energy. He doesn't look too happy. That looks like the wrong supporter to me.
Yeah, I think it's Hapu. But
I think it's red.
Oh, maybe both. But no matter which supporter card he goes for, it should be still fine. Even if he got the Welder, he would still need some way to get the active Pokemon out of the spot. So contrary to Shedinia, Marshadow can only be used if it's on the bench. So you need to kind of get it out of the active. Also, you can't really tag with it. Jirachi is resistant. Red Knuckles can only deal a lot of damage against Ultra Beast. Of course, Jirachi is not one of those. So for Tord, his turn kind of ends now. He really needs to think about, well, what might happen to Matthias next turn, and how do I want to react on that. The weak out energy, of course, very important because of Giratina also being a psychic Pokemon. And for Tord, he has to think about, well, maybe there's a way for Tord to maybe prevent Matthias from having it. So we see he has a Lysander Lab that would prevent Escape Board. But also that would be a Kick Stadium that he would sacrifice, which is definitely not something Tord wants to do. Tord is very afraid of the
power plant.
So.
Yeah, and we see Tord just passing here. Matthias flipping because Jirachi was asleep. The cute little boy woke up. And he is placing the Viridian Forest now, because now he really needs an energy.
Yeah, and also this allows him to discard an energy to thin out his deck. Matthias is running really hot now.
Also getting the energy into the discard pile to actually use the ability of Malama.
And also gets the supporter card. He's running really hot now.
But he's not playing fire energy.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. But there seems to be a question here. But alright, so Matthias going for the Psychic Recharge, it's called, I think, to attach a Psychic Energy card from his discard pile to Giratina. Escape Board is down, everything says Giratina for knockout. And then even if Tord, because this is very interesting, most Psychic Pokemon have Psychic weakness, but Giratina actually not. Giratina's weak to Dark. So this creates a very interesting situation here where even though they play the same types, only a few Pokemon.
And there's a second Malama.
Oh, that's very sweet. I'm pretty sure Matthias is very happy about that.
You must be.
Pokemon communication. And once you have this kind of board set up, you're good to go. And this is why Malamar is being played so much. Since, well, it is a setup deck, but once you have the setup, you're done. Like, you don't need anything else. Your hand cards are less important than for other decks. So if you play a Welder deck, once your Pokemon with all the energy gets knocked out, then you don't have anything anymore. Malamar can just always use Giratina to come back.
Yeah, it's so great. Once your setup is done, you are almost resistant to resets them.
Yes.
That's really, really nice. It's one of those decks that can actually survive from its board state.
Yeah, that's something that's very uncommon in the current format.
Yeah.
The only thing that can kind of go into a way is a Lysander Lab, which prevents a skateboard from being used. But now it's Thor's turn again. No power plant in play, so he can attack without the need of any special card. And we see him being very careful here. The Solgaleo in the discard pile, also the Deoxys saying hello um, from the last victory.
We see him discarding an energy to get another energy with the Viridian Forest.
And that's pretty nice, because Viridian Forest is a deck that you would think is pretty cool in Tort's deck. But because he plays Welder, the Giant Hearth is a lot better.
Yeah.
However, if your opponent has it in play, then why not use it? You can get your Psychic Energy in play. He plays Rats as a supporter card to search for basic energy cards as well. But Matthias just giving him the option to do that himself. Like, here, have your Psychic Energy, it's fine. And so this way Tort can set up this miraculous duo for the future. Giratina, if it's able to just do some damage, Mewtwo can heal itself, so that's one of the options this opens up for him. Also the Lysander Lab now, on the one hand it's a stadium card, you don't want to use that, but on the other hand it would prevent a spell tag. Of course not this turn, since it's not enough for a knockout, but this is also something to think about, that the Lysander Lab is not just good to be like any stadium, it's also important in this matchup because of the tools Matthias uses.
Yeah, definitely. And also you want to hold on to it and rather use it to kick the power plant. Yes, that hurts you way more. But we see Torrid has copied the Solgaleo GX attack to power up his bench to Mewtwo and has passed over to Matthias, and he has just started his turn.
Yeah, Matthias' hand doesn't look very good. He has nothing that he can play, so he actually just attacks, putting damage onto Malamar again. 130 on the active. Just advancing the board state a little bit, but not doing too much. I think Matthias is still kind of afraid of that Divide GX, or is it called Cross Divide GX, I think?
Cross Divide,
Yeah, Divide GX is a small one, Cross is a strong Divide GX, being able to put even 20 damage counters if you have enough. And this is definitely something very important in this matchup, since for Giratina, if it always puts on itself, it will always get knocked out. So you're basically kind of like trading 1-for-1, especially with Thor's Shedinja, meaning that you can only draw 2 prize cards on your Mewtwo and Mew.
Oh,
but there's actually a weird interaction with Shedinja, because I think the Kala only has 40 HP.
Yep.
So you can not go into spell tag, so every time you use spell tag it's kind of weird. And then also Matthias can use a combination of Distortion Door, put 10 damage on it, and then use Mew to shoot 30, and then it's also knocked out, just giving him like an easy prize card. But then again, drawing single prize cards against Mewtwo is kind of pointless, since it's Pokemon GX that you have to knock out. However, Matthias also has access to Cross Divide GX, so if he gets enough energy, he can take a knockout on a Bench Didana GX in the late game. So there are still some options and a lot of things to keep in mind in this game. And Tort is keeping a lot of things in mind. We see him going for a water energy card.
Yeah, he went specifically for the water energy, which makes sense because he only plays one copy of it, and as long as the Viridian Forest is in play, he might as well just use it and get that specific energy in case he needs it at some point later in the game. And now we have just seen him kick the Viridian Forest with his Lysander Lab, so now he's safe to KO the Giratina as spell tag won't get activated, and Matthias is now in a bit of an awkward position because even though he promoted the Jirachi, but he can't retreat it with the escape board.
Yes, and
unless he finds another kick to him.
Yeah, but it doesn't prevent him from attacking, it just means he needs to retreat with an energy card, and he can't use Stellar Whoosh. And Stellar Whoosh is something he really would have liked to do because he still has no supporter card in his hand, meaning that, well, he can cycle, like he has enough resources. He put the Psychic Energy card in the discard pile because he wants it to be in the discard pile. But I think, not a great situation to be in for Matthias, even though he ran so hot now. kind of all the supporter cards, they're chilling in the prize cards, not saying hello anytime soon. And now for Tord, he can't use Miraculous Duo since he has no Psychic Energy attached to the active Pokemon, but even just letting the active get knocked out is kind of okay. There are a lot of energy cards on the benched one.
Those are really a lot.
Yeah, well, this gives him a lot of options, right? So the Macargo can one-hit knock out Giratina, and it gives you a lot of GX attacks that you can use. Oh, and Red Challenge. I think that's if Tor doesn't already have one, he can use a Weak Guard energy from his benched Pokemon, kind of to
I think
prevent
that's what
anything.
he might be going for. Yeah. He's definitely eyeing it up, putting it on top of his deck or on bottom, depending on how you see it.
Well, it was something he thought about. Maybe there is a better play to be done right here, right now.
Yeah,
he definitely wants to attack with the active Pokemon, because if it goes to the bench, that's actually very crucial. It would just get knocked out by Distortion Door.
Or by some spell attack eventually.
Well, yeah, maybe later in the game, but currently Distortion Door is a big threat. It's actually kind of unfortunate since Escape Rope, I think, rotated as well.
Yes.
This would have been such a great card in Malamar to just like force the opponent, especially since there are the Charizard Reshiram also has 270 HP, so you always need to get this like 10 damage counter somehow. Yeah, but Tor just going for it. Tor just going for it, attaching the energy. Yeah, she can. Yeah, I think the Solgaleo is the only tag he has access to, and he's just shoving all his energy cards onto the active Pokemon. He was able to draw Reshiram Charizard from his prize cards, which is pretty good. It's a good attacker. Another option to take a one-hit knockout on Giratina. And on top of that, you can use Flare Strike next turn. However, that's actually fine, because Mew has a lot more attacks than just Flare Strike. And yeah, Matthias just showing his well-known strategy.
Getting the Giratina back, recycling the energy, and now he only needs to find a way to retreat that Jirachi.
Yeah, just a normal day for Malamar. He has recycle energy in his hand, so he can use that to retreat. But he really wants, like you can see, he really wants to Stellar Wish, but he just can't. Like, there is no way for him.
Yeah.
And he takes the knockout now.
He forgets to take the recycle energy back. Recycle energy should be in his hand, so we will let the judges know.
Yeah, we will.
It's not a big mistake.
Yeah, we will get someone to take that.
Oh yeah, Tor's reminding his opponent. So.
Good guy Tord. Now promoting Mewtwo and Mew.
Yeah.
He only has 4 prize cards left, and let's see where this is going.
We see Charizard.
Ooh, the new, well, not that new, but it's a little bit, it's one of the newer cards. Already there's a new set coming soon, but it can deal 300 damage for 5 energy with the GX attack, which is 1 energy less than you would need with the tag team. And also it can be used without putting it on the bench, so, well, I mean, the other can also be used without putting them on the bench, but it just gives you different options. It can also deal 140 damage, just normal without any other effect. So that's something that can be used. And also
Reshiram Charizard hitting the bench, a welder attaching energy to the Reshiram Charizard. Of course, at that point, it doesn't make any sense to attach even more energies to that Mew.
Yeah, I think it's fully charged.
I also think there's nothing you can achieve more with more energy.
Full color palette attached. Every energy that's in Tord deck is there once at least.
That actually means that he can use Reshiram Charizard's GX attack with the second effect, right?
I mean, if he wants to. But actually, he can just take the knockout here and then next turn win with Deoxys again.
Yeah, true.
Just like last game, and then explaining it to us just by showing us how to maneuver this matchup. But it seems like he actually wants to.
Maybe he's also going for Deoxys now.
Yeah, that might be, as long as he has a chance, Going for the big Deoxys, putting all Malamar in the discard pile at once, and then 3 prize cards, and now there's a clock on Matthias, and I don't think there's anything he can do.
I also don't believe. Yeah.
All right.
And Matthias agrees with us. There is nothing he can do. That was Tord showing his power.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Really, really strong card, this Espeon Deoxys, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But at least it doesn't surprise us anymore.
Well,
we know that it's in there.
I know
and
what it
just
does. It's one of my favorite cards, to be honest.
Yeah.
And
I think, like, looking at the other top 8 matches, they are still going. And we know Tord, he loves you, you love him. That's a nice relationship going on, so we should probably get him for an interview.
yeah, so see you in a bit. Welcome back, everybody. I'm here with Todd Reklev, the winner of the last round. Yeah, so how do you like the Malamar matchup in general? Is it easy or is it more difficult?
I actually don't really know. I was like maybe second or third time playing against it, so I know my deck is mostly like theory so far, but it's been working really good so far. So
yeah,
like the playtesting is during the tournament. I faced one day one, and yeah, went okay.
How did you win against the other Malamars? Did you also mainly use Espeon Deoxys, or?
Yeah, like try to punish them for putting damage on their own field. So if they damage the active, you obviously just Solgaleo them to take the knockout, and then you try to like clean up multiple Malamars with Espeon Deoxys. And you can also like tank a couple hits with Mewtwo's with weak card energy because they can't even get the power plant to turn off your Archie. That's really cool. I like that. And then you can GX attack with Mewtwo to heal everything. Kind of hard when I only play 2 psychic energies, but it's possible. And yeah, mainly just try to go after Malamars with Espeon Deoxys and Neganadal, and yeah, hopefully get a good stamp in after cleaning up the board.
Okay, let's ask the same question but the other way around. What do you want your Malamar opponent not to do? What can Malamar player do against your deck? Or is it just attack with Giratina each turn? And then
you can play wood techs, right? You can play Faba and discard
no, I mean like a normal build. Like you just play against your opponent and they just have the normal like Esper, Deoxys, Giratina. Like, is it just the right player to just go for Giratina every turn, or is there like some secret behind it? I mean, the Malamar
I'm not sure.
Already,
I don't feel Malamar is too flexible on that. And like your biggest damage output every turn is going for Giratina, so I think that was the best game plan. Just depending on how fast you can get it and how much you can stream Malamars, I guess. So should be pretty easy for the Malamar player. Just go 130 every turn, attach spell tags, hope for the best.
All right. So about the deck in general. I mean, I saw your tweet. I think I saw Mark's tweet first, and then I saw yours.
Yeah.
When did you start testing this deck, or was it just an idea and you just brought it here?
I tested a couple games online on Tuesday, actually. So pretty new, and yeah, obviously I traveled Thursday, so it was just couple hours on ladder and that was it. But like in theory it has everything, and it ran really well this tournament, so obviously much better than I expected.
Was this the first time you attacked with Shedinya?
Yeah, that was my first Shedinya attack as well, but it was actually kind of relevant.
Yeah, it was relevant at the end, so you didn't need the extra energy for the cross.
Yeah, I could just clean up with the 100. It was like triple price. Oh, perfect.
Like I thought like you had it in hand. I was like, oh yeah, you could just win, and you were like, wait, is this enough? Like, really? And all right.
Yeah, so I was thinking about something else, and then suddenly I remember, I got Deoxys.
I see.
Then I showed him Deoxys and looked at him, and he wasn't scooping, so I was like, it has to be something I didn't remember here. Like, power plant, nah, there's nothing? Okay, kill. I was like, yeah, good game. So I was just confused for a second.
So there is a Greninja GX in your deck. Does this make you a Greninja player?
I don't know, kinda. The thing is, if you don't play that specific card, you just fold if your opponent benches 2 Keldeos.
I see.
So, yeah, you can't beat 2 Keldeos. You can GX one of them with Charge, right? Because it goes through anything. But you can't beat the second one. Like, you actually can't touch it. You have to, like, Shedinate, and obviously that won't work.
So the Greninja main reason is the first attack?
Yes.
But we saw you using the GX attack, and the whole day.
Yeah, like the GX attack is kind of meme, but like you can't find uses for it. I figured like you can use it. Say if you play against Reshi Tails and they go double welder on the Reshi shard on bench, but then they whiff the switch. then if you can get it, the best possible play would just be to like scoop up everything, and then they lost 2 welders in the process.
All
So
right.
that will like drain them for a lot of resources and probably give you some tempo back.
Yeah, so I think I'm out of questions. Yeah, wishing you good luck. We don't know who you're going up against now, but we'll find out, and we will let everyone know as well. So congratulations,
Well, thank
well
you.
done, and we'll see you next round.